Hello everyone. The footage that followed this is very sober because my camera went for a walk down the street and has a very loose connection with the microphone. So what was supposed to be a nice explanation of a Multistrada V4S has turned into an echo of my voice at stationary times and wind noise and all the rest. So yes, but enjoy. Hello everyone. Enough of that past bailout, let's get on to the important things. This is Ducati's Multistrada V4S. Lovely bike, glad I got a chance to ride it. Let's start off with one thing that was immediately apparent to me, because I am 6'1" with a 34 inside leg. The seat is quite high, as you would have on an adventure bike, but Ducati's done something special with the semi-active suspension on this. At a standstill, the suspension lowers, which means that getting on it is a lot easier than you'd think, which is a bit of a shock to me. If you try and put your foot down whilst the bike's still rolling, like you're coming to a standstill, you suddenly go, oh hello, the ground's a little bit further away than I thought. That is because the bike has not stopped and lowered itself yet. The suspension, I flick between a couple of modes. There's a button on the left-hand bar, and you can flick between the riding modes on the Multistrada V4S. Comfort, which I picked the bike up in, which is very soft, but when you push it hard into cornering, makes it feel a bit wallowy. Auto, Sport, and Dynamic. I spent a lot of time with Dynamic because when you weren't really pushing along, it kept it nice and soft, and when you started going for it, it stiffened up the suspension. You could really fire it around some corners, really shoot around some cars nice and easy without worrying about the suspension letting go. The seat on this, nice and wide, quite soft. Not as soft as it could be, but as always, people try to make every bit of money now, aren't they? And Ducati has a comfort seat they want you to buy. I'd say after 2 or 3 hours, if you want to continue riding, you're going to want the comfort seat. The fuel tank on the Multistrada V4S is 22 litres. I did actually have to fill up later on in the video because the fuel light came on. I got the bike half empty, so I knew I'd have to fill it up on the way back. But yeah, 200 mile range from 22 litre tank isn't bad for a V4 engine. It has a brilliant method of keeping the fuel economy well, which is if you are below 4,000 RPM or going at slow speeds, or a combination of both, it has the cylinder deactivation that a lot of modern vehicles have, or a lot of more expensive modern vehicles have, and it turns off the 2 rear cylinders, which means you will be riding along on a Ducati parallel twin, and I'll tell you, it's a brilliant thing because you go along and you've got a lovely smooth V4, you slow down and you've got this characterful parallel twin. Like, you can feel the vibrations, but it's not intrusive vibrations, it's nice characterful vibrations. And talking about that engine, the spin up on that thing, when I took it back, I said, what are they feeding that thing? It's insane for a tourer. 170 horsepower you are aware of. Now, it's not geared to hit top speeds, but it will rev out quickly. It comes with a quick shifter as standard, which is very nice. Low down, the quick shifter is a bit clunky, but when you really go up in the revs, that quick shifter, nice and smooth. The screen on the Ducati Multistrada V4S is single-hand adjustable. Up high, gets rid of a lot of the buffeting. Down low, I've personally found it a bit buffeting, but I'm 6'1". Does a good job, like no trouble at all. It was fantastic. Definitely part of the drawing thing. There are hand guards, like kind of bark busters, keeps the heat off. You've got heated grips on there as well. A lot of buttons on the left hand side. The indicator, I'm used to like a bigger swing on an indicator, so of which sounds really silly, but until you try that, it's a very subtle movement left and right. And deactivation. There's radar on this for adaptive cruise control. Never had adaptive cruise control. Never had cruise control on a bike. That was an experience to be had. As you can see in the clip where I don't really want to take my right hand off because it feels weird. Left hand, I'll ride along with the left hand all day. I'll ride about the left hand all day. Feels so weird with the right hand floating in space. Brakes are Brembos front and rear, so you've got twin on the front, single on the back. Great stopping power. First time I actually had to stop coming to a roundabout, because I'd just gone straight from the Tiger, went to grab the brakes and basically stopped dead. They're amazing brakes, so fantastic stuff that. Lights, really good. You have switchable ABS, switchable traction control, adaptive cruise control, different riding modes, different comfort levels. I kept it in sport most of the time. I switched it to touring. I did try it in wet for a second just to see if wet was as naff as I remember it was. Or I think it was urban on the Super Sport, but it was bang on, just as kind of meh. Honestly, if it's wet, put it in touring. That's be perfectly fine. Sport, the throttles is just immense. You grab a handful and it goes. You put that in sport and dynamic suspension and you can go touring and have a lot of fun without changing a thing. You can change the preload so it's either rider with pillion, rider with luggage, or rider and pillion with luggage, and it'll adapt to that as well. I just had myself, didn't have any luggage on it, so I couldn't tell. When I picked the bike up, it had the automatic headlights set, which is a nice feature. So let's go through the handlebars. On the left-hand side, you have your cruise control, as you'll see there. So you press it on and off, and then up or down to set it. Next to that, you have plus and minus buttons that scroll through the menus. Then you've got the mode button, which is the grey button. Just press that, select your mode from up and down, and then just close the throttle when you're ready. And that will switch over whilst you're going along. Above that is the coil, which is the suspension button, which I messed around with a little bit, and honestly, glorious thing. Right-hand side, you've just got the kill switch start button. This is keyless, so you can press the button in the middle to turn on the bike with the key in your pocket. What I do wish this bike had was the keyless fuel cap, because the key had lodged itself in the bottom of my pocket, so when I got to the petrol station, I couldn't get to it, which is an interesting feat. Love the display on it. That white on black. I'm more of a white on black person than black on white person. Lovely clear tacho on there. Shows you your gear in the middle and your speed on the left hand side. Below that you have various trips, including your current MPG. You can set up your range. You can set up your average MPG, average speed. You've got your time on there. Any other little information at the bottom. And you can also control the adaptive cruise control if you want it set near, far, or in the middle, or just turn that off. You've got your fuel gauge at the top, right, left, time on the clock, clock on the top right. If you switch through the menus, you can go through about using the sat-nav, using your phone, things like that. Didn't really mess with any of that, I just left it as is. The seat position, really nice, really comfortable, arms just straight out in front of you. For me, they're a little bit, lower, not just lower. Instead of straight out, they're a little bit below straight out, and really comfy leg position. We've got a nice 90 degree with your legs. Pillion comfort, a quick poke on the seat makes that seem like it's going to be very similar for the pillion as well as the rider, which is nice. Love how they've got Multistrada V4 along the middle of the bars there. Wish it said the V4S, but I understand why they haven't just done an S variant as well. Now, obviously, one of the big selling points of this being the V4 and those big figures is the acceleration for a tourer. Is this the fastest tourer there is? I think so. The 0 to 60 is roughly 2.7 to 3.2 seconds, and a 0 to 100 mile an hour in under 6.5, which obviously I didn't test. That wouldn't be allowed, would it? It's powered by the 170 horsepower V4 Gran Turismo engine. It's got a lot of low down torque. It just pulls away. It does not care. Apparently it comes with launch control. Didn't do anything out because it's not mine. It's not got a lot of miles on it. I don't want to, well, I think it's got 1,000 miles. It did not want to plough it into a wall somewhere. No, thank you very much. Also comes with engine braking control. Another thing I've liked about the dash is when you're flicking between modes, instead of getting rid of the information, it puts it in a red column in the middle. Tells you what mode you're in, what speed you're doing, what gear you're in. You don't need to know anything else at the time, as long as you've got those important things. It's a fantastic bike. And when you rev it up, the revs turn to orange and then to red right as you peak it. It's that little hint to go for it and really give it some. Really inspiring bike. Of course, we can't ignore the engine note. The engine on this sounds amazing when you open it up. Sadly, obviously because of the camera, there's a lot of wind noise. So I'm going to just leave in the few small clips I had of me slowing down and accelerating where you might be able to hear it. For a bike this size, it handles extremely well. It's got a dry weight of 217 kilos, closer to 235 with fuel and fluids. And because it's the newer engines, all the servicing is a lot further apart than it used to be, so you don't have to worry about major valve clearances until 60,000 kilometres or about 32,000 miles, which is going to save a lot of money on servicing over its lifetime. I must admit, I'm having a struggle review on this bike, not riding it. I don't even have audio to go off on the footage. So I'm going to keep this one nice and short and say that it's definitely a bike worth taking out should you be able to stretch to the budget of, was it £26,000 for a Multistrada V4S. There's the basic V4, which misses some of the bells and whistles, but will still have that amazing engine. And then there's the RS if you want to hit 0 to 60 in 2.5. There's also rally versions, there's Pikes Peak versions, all of which different flavours for everyone. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope I can do a lot better on the next thing. I won't say what it's coming, but it's going to be interesting. So thank you for watching. I'm going to bail out. Bye.
You and me, little brother.